Hey, what up, guys? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Before we go forward with all the fights that have been announced, and especially Canelo's, I want to discuss in this video the aftermath for Canelo Alvarez versus Avni Yildrim. I know some people ain't going to care, but hey, I told you before, when one of the 12 most must-see fighters fight in boxing, I'm going to do a is-on video announcing the fight. I'm going to do a breakdown of the video, breaking down what could happen in the fight, breaking both fighters down all the way down and what it means for boxing. And then I'm going to give you the aftermath afterwards because, excuse me, no matter who these guys fight, especially Canelo, it does matter. So people are going to say it didn't matter, but it did matter. Canelo had to beat Avni Yildrim in order to move forward and make bigger fights so he could hold on to his world title. So people don't want to appreciate that. No offense, you're fucking stupid if you don't want to appreciate that this is boxing. This shit's been going on for years, and this had to happen. And as I said in a previous video when I did the recap of this fight, you want to blame somebody, blame on Anthony Dirrell's scrub ass. Because, you know, let's get into Avni Yildrim for a minute. Was he on Canelo's level? No. But you know what? Avni Yildrim never would have been on Canelo's level. But let's look at all the circumstances. I mean, Yildrim didn't fight for 2 years, guys, you know, since the Dirrell fight. Injuries and coronavirus, and also the WBC. You want to blame people? Blame the WBC and blame Anthony Dirrell. And I'll get into each one for why Avni Yildrim was even in this position, okay? And David Benavidez. These are the three figures that fucked everything up with this title right here, okay? So let's start with David Benavidez. This fool tested positive for cocaine a couple years ago, and actually the end of 2018, and was stripped of the title, suffered a 6-month suspension from boxing, but for some reason the WBC named him the champion emeritus, which means he can come back and fight for the WBC title whenever he wants and move in front of the #1 contender. Then the WBC announced Anthony Dirrell, the former champ, after not beating anybody to deserve a title shot. They announced that he would fight Avni Yildrim for the vacant WBC title, and Avni Yildrim did less to deserve a title shot. If anything, Avni Yildrim in what was it, October of 17, got his ass knocked out against Chris Eubank Jr. He didn't fucking beat anybody to deserve the shot with Dirrell for the vacant title. Then, so the WBC corrupt as shit, naming David Benavidez champion emeritus after testing positive for cocaine. And then they put Anthony Dirrell in a fight he didn't deserve and Avni Yildrim as his opponent, thinking that they were just going to hand Dirrell, who was a former champ, the world title. That's what it looked like on paper, that Dirrell was going to go in there, beat up on Avni Yildrim, and become the world champion. Well, things didn't go the way they planned because Anthony Dirrell overlooked Avni Yildrim, and he's not the same fighter as, in my opinion, as Chris Eubank, and not even fucking close to Canelo Alvarez in terms of styles. You know? So, what happened? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I heard something. So, what happened? Avni Yildrim should have won the fight. It ended by a technical decision due to a cut after 10 rounds. He should have won the fight. They gave it controversially to Dirrell. The WBC then did something right and said, okay, Avni Yildrim deserves a shot at the title. We're naming him the mandatory #1 contender. He deserves a shot at the title, but David Benavidez all of a sudden can fight again. He knocks out J. Leon Love in a tune-up bout in March on a Mikey Garcia-Spence undercard, and then he wants a title shot against Anthony Dirrell. So he supersedes Avni Yildrim for the title. He beats Anthony Dirrell to take the title because he's a better fighter. Then we fast forward into 2019 or 2020. Well, first off, 2020. Benavidez and Yildrim were supposed to fight in a mandatory fight. Didn't happen because coronavirus, and Avni Yildrim was injured even prior to coronavirus being announced. So that fight got put back. And then David Benavidez gets an optional defense against Romer Angulo, and he fucking misses weight by 3 or 4 pounds. Stripped of the title. Now, Canelo, being the franchise champion at middleweight, the weight below, another corrupt thing the WBC did, for good reason, though. You know, I mean, I get it on certain fighters, I guess. But then Canelo moves in the front of the line to fight for the vacant world title. He fights Callum Smith, who was also high in the rankings and never got the title shot he deserved after winning the World Boxing Super Series. They fight each other. WBC guarantees Avni Yildrim the winner. Fast forward to now. So you know what? The WBC's corrupt as fuck. Made mistakes with Benavidez and Durrell and Yildrim. But Yildrim fought his ass off in the opportunity that he got and should have won and should have been crowned the new WBC champion. And he didn't, so they gave him a crack at the title. And it just happened to fold out because of Benavidez, coronavirus, that it happened to be against Canelo Alvarez. So, and Canelo did what he was supposed to do. He smashed on him. So what do we learn from this fight? That Canelo is the pound-for-pound king. I'm not surprised he knocked him out as fast as he did. I thought it was going to go a little longer because Canelo and the type of fight that I saw between these two guys wasn't the same between Canelo and Yildrim than Eubank and Yildrim was different, but it was also different styles. I mean, Yildrim went toe-to-toe with Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank caught him cold. You know, that wasn't the same kind of fight, but also Yildrim hadn't fought in a couple years. And then you got Joel Diaz who protects his fighters. And you got to hand it to Joel Diaz, you know, for stopping the fight when he did because dude was getting smashed on. He got hurt. He couldn't recover, you know. Joel Diaz stopped the fight in the corner, you know. It was a smart move. He wanted to save his fighter from getting more damage done to him, you know. It's tough after 2 years fighting. It really is. So that's, you know, pretty much the aftermath of this fight. I mean, we really didn't learn much. Yildrim is not on the level, but we kind of already knew that. But he earned this shot after not earning the shot. You know what I'm saying? He fought for the title. He deserved to win. He deserved to become world champion. He did it, so he got a shot at another crack at the title. Canelo is showing everybody against a guy like Yildrim and on his level, this is what you do against those kind of guys. What did you guys want? Did you want this guy to give Canelo a fight when he's not on Canelo's level? If Yildrim would have fought Canelo and it would have been close, what would you guys have thought about Canelo then? You know, Canelo did what he was supposed to do against the level of opposition that he had. It was a mandatory fight in order to hold on to his belts so he could become the first ever Mexican undisputed world champion and only the 6th or 7th 4-belt holder in the whole sport. Now, I know all the Mexicans out there that are giving Canelo shit, they're going to be proud as fuck of this guy when he becomes the first ever Mexican undisputed world champion. I fucking know that about it. I'm half Mexican. I know how fucking people are, especially in California where I'm from. So they're going to be all over his nuts when he accomplishes that. But they're going to give him shit on the road to doing it? That's bullshit. But anyways, Canelo, what we know is he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders for sure, May 8th, unifying belts. He gets through him, Caleb Plant for the undisputed title in September. That's fucking huge. And then Canelo wants to give all of us another gift and fight in December. And I guarantee you, if he doesn't get hurt and he doesn't have trouble with Saunders or Plant, which I think he's going to beat both of them convincingly, I think 2 options, Triple G or Charlo in December. So we'll see. All right, guys, that's the aftermath. Canelo versus Avni Yildrim. Hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.